welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, please give this video a thumbs up, please subscribe, and let's jump straight into it. So it's coming to the end of January and maybe you're lacking a little bit on your goals, you're falling a little bit behind on the objectives you set yourself for this year, and you're thinking, how do I get the most out of these goals? So today, what we'll run through is why we set goals. We'll also go through research-backed techniques for setting them, and we'll also run through some of my personal examples of setting goals. And hopefully that will help you and give you a path to set some true goals that you can meet by the end of this year. So first things first, why do we set goals? I think for me, it's a real opportunity to focus on a few things that I want to achieve. It's really easy to get distracted and trying to aim for different things, and sometimes you can get caught up in a variety of things. Setting goals really helps you focus, have some clarity, and set some steps for yourself to achieve those goals. Apart from that, there was a study done by Auld and team. And so their study was based on people who set New Year's resolutions versus people who didn't set New Year's resolutions. Now, the basis for this was the people who set New Year's resolutions, they wrote them down, they acknowledged them, and they made steps to do them. The people who didn't set New Year's resolutions, in their mind at the beginning of the year, they had some sort of things they wanted to achieve, they had a vague understanding of what they wanted to achieve, but they didn't make that clarity, they didn't go ahead and set actual New Year's resolutions. So after 6 months, Auld and team went back and checked up on these people, and it seemed that those people who set New Year's resolutions and had a clear path to achieve them, 46% of them said that they were continuously successful in those New Year's resolutions. And guess how many percent of people who didn't set New Year's resolutions were continuously successful? Just 4%. So I think it's really important to set goals so that you know your path, you understand exactly what you're trying to achieve, and it's guaranteed a higher success rate. So definitely set goals. It serves as a good basis to first understand the type of goals you can set. So an article by Eastern Washington University found that goals are generally ordered into 3 different categories. Number 1, process-based goals. So these are goals around doing specific actions. These are generally 100% controlled by the individual. So say, for example, you want to read more. A process-based goal would say, I'm going to read 5 pages a night. The second type of goal are performance-based goals. So these are goals set on your personal performance and your personal standard. Say, for example, with the same scenario, you want to read more. A goal would look like, I'm going to increase my reading and comprehension from 10 pages an hour to 20 pages an hour. Therefore, setting the goal based around your performance. The third type of goal are outcome goals. So these are based on winning an outcome, achieving an outcome. So say, for example, your goal would look like, I want to learn enough from books to land a specific job. These are generally a little bit more difficult because sometimes achieving that goal is outside of your control. I generally prefer to set process-based goals for myself. That way I can maintain on track with these goals and make sure I'm achieving them without anything being out of my control. Now let's jump into the techniques for setting goals. So number 1, try to set goals based on setting habits rather than breaking habits. These are called approach-oriented goals versus avoidance-oriented goals. A large-scale experiment conducted by Oscarsson found that participants with approach-oriented goals were significantly more successful than those with avoidance goals. Why? And an explanation into this may be that approach-oriented goals are more linked with positive outcomes, more positive emotions, whereas avoidance-oriented goals are linked more significantly with negative outcomes. So say, for example, you want to achieve a good grade in a test. An approach-oriented goal may be that you want to achieve an A in a test, whereas an avoidance-oriented goal may be you want to not achieve less than a C. You're more motivated to try and achieve that A than you are to try and avoid a C. So try to set goals which are based on achieving rather than avoiding. So on to the second technique of setting goals. Set goals which are SMART. So what does SMART stand for? Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Let's jump into each of these. So number 1, specific. Know exactly what it is you're trying to achieve and what the process is to achieve that. Say, for example, you want to become healthier. That's not so specific. Rather, maybe you could try increasing your intake of fruit and veg or reducing your carbs. And that's a good way to make your goals specific. Number 2, measurable. Have a way of measuring where along the progress you are of these goals. It's really important to make sure your goals are specific so that you can measure those goals and see the progress. Number 3, achievable. So make sure your goals aren't too far out of reach. It's common that people set really big goals for themselves, but make it really hard to reach and give up easily. Take it in steps and know that achieving is a long-term vision. Don't aim for the moon straight away. You want to get to the moon eventually, but first build that rocket and then get to the moon. Number 4, make sure your goals are relevant. So they need to be relevant to your long-term vision. If it doesn't align with the person you see yourself in 5 years, 10 years time, it will be really easy to give up along the way. And number 5, time bound. Put a time limit of when you want to achieve by. And this is why it's really important to make goals which are achievable. Once you end up putting a time limit on yourself, you want to make sure you can achieve that. Often giving yourself infinite time means you push actions back to tomorrow and the day after and the day after, and these goals never get achieved. Keep a timeline of yourself of what you want to achieve and when. Technique number 3, set sub-goals. So on your journey of these larger goals, set smaller and smaller goals to achieve those larger goals. It helps with perception and putting those goals into perspective. So a study by Su Shi Huang found that a large goal can easily seem unattainable, but splitting it into smaller goals makes it seem more attainable. So say for example, a large goal would be you want to increase your business revenue by 100,000 by the end of the year. That seems really big initially, but splitting that into first earning 1,000, then 5,000, then 10,000, then onto your 100,000 ensures that you make it more achievable for yourself and more attainable. But make sure not to lose sight of the larger goal. So the study found that whilst sub-goals motivate greater effort at the beginning, focusing on the overall goal gives optimal amount of effort once people reach the end of the pursuit. So as you start getting closer to that £100,000, remind yourself of this overall goal. So let's wrap off by putting one of my goals to the test. So this year, one of my goals is to inspire and motivate others. So we'll start by applying the techniques. So first thing is SMART. I want to make my goals smart. I want to make my goals specific. So the way I make it specific is I have said that I want to create a YouTube channel and I want to upload content to inspire and motivate others. I make it measurable. So I set myself a 3-week window whereby I'll try and upload a video every 3 weeks, and that makes it measurable. Achievable. I chose 3 weeks because that's an ideal time for me to create content, edit videos, record, and do the whole shebang all within 3 weeks. And I know that's achievable. Relatable. It really relates to my long-term vision of hoping to be a person who improves people's lives. And so that'll keep me going along this journey. And time-bound. I make sure that within that 3 weeks, I upload a video. And so not too much pressure, but not no pressure at all. So these characteristics also embody a approach-oriented goal rather than an avoidance-oriented goal. I'm trying to build habits and become a person who does something on a regular cadence rather than someone who's trying to avoid something. I also set sub-goals, so things I want to achieve every month under this goal. I take a monthly account of what I'm going to do to get closer to achieving this goal. And lastly, celebrating wins. So I have a number of things on a timeline and how I'm going to treat myself if I achieve these things. So I might buy myself a present if I achieve these things. And I think that really helps me with celebrating my small wins. On the contrary, I also have a pact with a couple of friends where if I don't upload a video every so often, I have to pay for their meals. So I try and avoid that as much as possible. So at this point, I want to introduce a personal top tip. This is something that has really helped me achieve my goals. I think it's really important to make your goals visible. I used to have my goals in my phone, in my notes, and it's a sort of out of sight, out of mind. Now I have my goals on my wall, on a massive whiteboard stuck on my wall, and I see those goals every day. Every time I walk into my room and every time I walk out of it, I see my goals. And that really helps me. It keeps me on track, it makes me aware of my goals and what I could do to achieving them. So definitely I can put a link in the description for my whiteboard that I have. It's a static whiteboard that just sticks on the wall, and definitely make your goals visible. There you go guys, we've come to the end of the video. I hope that helped, and I hope that helps you achieve goals and get the most out of your goals. Until next time, make sure you drop a comment of what you'd like to see and like and subscribe. Thanks.